when I got the call, they gave me the schedule.
Yeah.
And I said, well, there's going to be a little problem because our wedding was already scheduled.
Hello, I'm Diona Reasonover.
And I'm Brian Dietzen. This is NCIS Partners and Probies.
We're just going to start again because right now I'm already too excited. Ready, here we go.
Very excited.
Hello, I'm Diona Reasonover.
And I am Brian Dietzen.
Oh, I thought you were going to do this. See, this is what happens. Okay, ready. One more time. Our guest, and just so you know, our guest would never do this because our guest is a professional. Our guest has a long career, and our guest is
Mr. Gary Cole. This is an awesome interview. We both, of course, love Gary. He's a consummate actor. He's done everything across the board between theater, television, film,
voice work. Yeah.
Let's just name off just a couple characters that he's played that are iconic.
Yes.
Let's see.
Alden Parker. That took the easy one.
Bill Lumberg.
Yes, Bill Lumberg. He's been on Archer as a voice for a long time.
Of course, Talladega Nights. We cover all of these things in one interview. It's really fantastic. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. We got to have him back because there's just so much more to talk about.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. But stay tuned for Gary Cole. While you're doing that, why don't we practice this one more time? Ready? Here we go.
Yeah. Ready?
Hi, I'm Diona Reasonover.
Hey, I'm Brian Dietzen.
We still don't have it. Okay,
Nope.
Here comes Gary Cole.
Here we are with Gary Cole. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for
Thanks
having
for having
us.
us on your set.
Yes, thank
Honestly, Hollywood royalty, so
Fun
it does
fact,
honestly feel like
this set has been Gary Cole's the whole time. We've just been visiting and squatting.
Anytime you thought it was a ghost, it wasn't. It was Gary Cole flicking the lights over the corner, which is good.
They've been on time with the rent, so, so far so good.
That's our guy.
Yeah. We've asked you to stop putting that in your contract, and yet.
Gary, thank you so much, man. I wanted to start with you coming to NCIS. Obviously, we're gonna explore some of your backstory and all that sort of stuff, but we're here on a big orange set. I figured we should start in the big orange room.
Everything. Oh, is that
everything
what it
is orange. This is definitely NCIS territory. What were your thoughts when you first got that phone call saying we want to see you and have a meeting about being on NCIS? I mean, did you know the show? Were you familiar with it?
I was familiar with it. But it was like, I remember when it came on and it was like, that's a couple of decades ago, isn't it? But I knew, I was aware that it was still on the air, and it was just like, wow, more power to everybody. I was actually surprised at the circumstances. From what I understood, and you may know more about it than I do, it's because it's kind of a behind the scenes type of thing. I was surprised that there was no definite plan when Mark exited. That first of all, I was baffled as to when they knew it, how quickly it was before the season. The 19th season was supposed to start, and when he was making this decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it all seemed very hurried to me. And I think it was also, it kind of surprised me that, and you can probably enlighten me, that he didn't consider that if he left, the show might not continue. I don't know if that's what,
I would
true
say,
or not,
in my estimation, I think that was a big thing on Mark's mind, and it was a big thing on the rest of our minds too, because, you have a long tenured lead on a show like that. There's no guarantee, that something's going to continue once they leave. And then of course, when he left, that's when they moved our show back to Monday nights. We're up against Monday Night Football. Right. And I think, let's be honest, in the back of everybody's mind is like, maybe this experiment works without Mark, and maybe it doesn't. Maybe we're looking at the want ads in a year or something.
No, baby, I had just bought a house. I was like, this got to work. This has got to go.
And then you come on at the same time as Katrina Law, and the people responded well. I mean, the ratings went up from where we thought they would be, and we were equaling our numbers that we had at Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. We were having the same numbers against Monday Night Football at 9 o'clock.
Right.
It was, I was surprised. And not because I don't think Gary.
No, I was too. I wasn't
space.
sure.
Okay, you were in the same headspace.
But I think it says two things. Mm-hmm. It says how strong the foundation of the show is, regardless of who's at the center of it or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. That's powerful, and the habit of people coming to a show in big numbers doesn't just walk away when there's a big shift.
Right.
It's because there's a hold on the audience that doesn't exist with shows that have been around 3, 4, and 5 years. I mean, it's just not the same thing. And then when they explained what they were going to do, that he was, I think the best decision they made was that it wasn't, Mark exiting cleanly before the season began. He's going to begin the season, and no one really knows how that pans out. And then they built an extraordinary, I think, television moment in the way they exited him from the show.
Oh, that Alaska, the
combined with scenes. It made sense. I always said it made sense that I was kind of side by side in that storyline. So it wasn't like, he's not there or he does 4 shows and then on the 5th episode there's a knock on the door and I go, "Hi, I'm the new guy." And everybody's going, What's this all about? So the way they went about it, I think, was wise, and I think that was also helpful. But it says it tells us what I think we know now, which is that the foundation of the show is strong, and you can play with characters or people or actors, but if that's still the focus, it's the show survives.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was, to echo what you said, I thought it was great that they had you kind of really reject it, right? From the outright. You were kind of like, we had arrested you for anyone who hasn't seen it. You were mad about that. I mean, even when they offered you the role, you kind of were like, no. And I thought something about that, it just showed us so much about your character's principles, and it made it still seem like, oh, this is something I want to watch. I do still want to watch these characters that have these principles, these morals, these strong characters. And as a side note, we talked a little bit about, hadn't you just gotten married when you got this?
I was about to get married.
Yeah, okay.
As a matter of fact, when I got the call, they gave me the schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, well, there's going to be a little problem here. I'm going to need at least a few days in episode probably 4 by that time.
Yeah.
Because our wedding was already scheduled for August. I think it was, I should know that on my camera. August 14th.
She's
August
right
14th.
Hi, Michelle.
2021. And so we were already going to be underway. So that would have been like around the 4th show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but they mercifully built that in.
That's great.
And, went away for the weekend and got married. So there was a few things happening.
Yeah.
We moved to a new house. This show happened, and I began it.
Yeah.
And we got married. So.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about the origin of Parker. Obviously, you probably watched some episodes of NCIS just to see what the flavor is, what you're looking at, what you're getting yourself into. Was there like a conscious effort on your part to differentiate yourself? Did you speak up to like our showrunner Stephen Binder about this, about how Parker's going to differ from Gibbs, like his managerial style, his leadership style, that sort of stuff? Like, did you want to find parallels, or did you want to really say, I want to go in a very different direction?
Well, to me, I looked at it as, when you not swap, and that's the point. It isn't swapping, it's not just swapping a position. It's a new character.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all. It's just it, like any other character would arrive on the show. It's another character. The fact that he was labeled the leader is just a title to me. That's how I looked at it. I didn't look at it. I have to delegate people, or I have to say, okay, now we're going. But that's where it began and ended to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just another guy in the building. But we did talk. I talked to Binder and I talked to Horowitz a lot about it.
Okay.
He had a lot of ideas about how they should differ. And he kind of filled me in on the way that, even after watching the show, but his insight into Gibbs and how it was kind of and he said it before, it was kind of the kids want to please the dad.
Yeah.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure. Absolutely.
And now the crazy uncle shows up. So it's not so much pleasing him. He's like, what is he up to? What's his deal?
Yeah.
And after a while that evens itself out. But that's how I looked at it. I didn't want him. And first of all, I asked, is he a military guy? I was assuming maybe he
Right.
came from the same background.
Mhm.
He said, no,
Yeah.
not at all. He came from law enforcement. He came from the FBI, but he doesn't have any of the similar background that Gibbs did, which I thought was a good idea. Any
Yeah.
place that they could, make it a different origin story, I thought was the wise move.
I really love the fact that Gibbs is a hard ass in his own right, being a Marine and whatnot. And Parker had just within those first 7-8 episodes, they showed his managerial style of him being a hard ass, but in a different way, looking after his team.
Mhm.
So I remember there's this one scene where Jimmy's sitting there and he's working on something, working on a body, and Parker comes in. And Jimmy says, "Don't worry, I'll get to this later. I'm gonna be here even if it takes me until midnight." And I remember Parker's line, and I thought it was such a cool choice on their part and yours as well. Informing this character, saying, "If you're here at midnight, you're fired. Go home to your kid." And it's one of those things of like, I want my team to have a life that, and because it'll make them better at what they do, as opposed to this is the be all end all right here, which sometimes when you have a Marine in charge, it can feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I think that was a conscious, that line says what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
And really spell out that difference. The kind of humanity
Mm-hmm.
in between, this character and the rest of the people. Also, he was, there was a lot of attempts, I think, even if they weren't that outward, that he was also trying to fit in himself.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just about, you need to conform to what, I'm giving you. It's just like, am I, how am I doing here?
Yeah.
That kind of, and they kind of wrote towards that. There was, and of course, probably the most reluctant person, just because of personality, was probably Torres.
Yes.
Yes.
Because it was like, who is this? This has to be trouble.
Yeah.
There's another person here, and they have to be trouble. I don't trust them.
Why
Right.
is he nice to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Why
So
is he being
that was well done too. I think you
Yeah.
needed those kind of bumps to begin with, because they would have been. That's normally what would happen. Right?
Yeah.
That's what would happen. In
Yeah.
an environment
We
like
had
that.
a little bump at the beginning too, because when one of your first episodes, I get taken hostage, and I remember saying to you, which is not something that I necessarily believe, but I'm like, I need you to take care of me first, and then worry about everything else later. And I don't think that's ever come up again, but I just thought that was so interesting because my character's never talked like that to anybody before. But I liked that chemistry that we first had.
Yeah.
And this is a separate question, but I do have to ask, what is your favorite Parker's pastry that you have brought in? And is that Binder, or is that Mark Horowitz, our EP? Whose idea was it to have Parker's pastries?
I can assure you, it's not me.
Not you?
No.
No?
And
Not a big pastry guy, Gary Cole.
And
Not a big
to
pastry guy.
prove that, I couldn't tell you my favorite one because I can't remember any of the names.
There's the
this point.
Foyadel. There was
Yes.
See?
I had a concha. You had bought me a cinnamon,
Okay,
cinnamon
you're-
concha.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Both of you have you've
Why don't-
outdone me by
You
two
could
right
just
now.
get donuts, man.
Yeah,
Donuts.
what are you
Yeah,
doing?
just-
Glazed donuts. That would be my choice.
You're from
but-
Chicago. Chicago has great pastries, like
It's true.
incredible bakery
I
town.
know, but it's like I said, it was not my invention. So, and you notice we haven't seen pastries in a while.
It was
know
the
what?
budget. Yeah.
Too much psychosis has been taking place for pastry.
That beginning period of, hey, everyone, please like me. It's just like,
Yeah.
you got me now. I don't have to bring pastries.
No, I
in.
thought that was again another another big distinction between Gibbs and which actually I thought worked well. Yeah.
Yeah. But also we were filming, like people don't know, but we're filming at 7 a.m. So it is not the easiest thing to be like, oh, tres leches, great. You know what I mean?
Great.
Like
Let's eat this 7
it's
times.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
7
you eat
takes.
it like 17, 18 times in a row with a spit bucket.
Yeah, it was making the interrogation scenes very difficult to eat quite so much Black Forest cake. Yeah, it's a lot.
All right, I want to go on the Wayback Machine. I want to go back to Illinois State University. You were there.
Wait, what is that reaction? What is that reaction?
We're gonna do that. Little,
Yeah, okay.
Nothing merely that it's just a long time ago. That's
Oh, fair.
But you were there at the same time as like Laurie Metcalf, John Malkovich.
Right.
Tell me about the beginnings of your theatrical endeavors? I mean, were you into theater in high school and in
Yeah.
middle school, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, and then so coming in, you were at Illinois State for
Right.
that.
Yeah. No, I got involved in high school. My sister was a performer and a musician who did some performing on stage, a lot of playing in the orchestra for musicals, playing in the orchestra pit.
Oh, what'd
That's
you
the
play?
first. What's that?
What'd you play?
She played piano.
Oh, nice.
And she was in music all her life. She's been a music teacher forever. She's retired now, but so that's the first time I was into theater. So that's where I first got exposed to theater, and you know, the one thing I knew is as I looked up on the stage, I went, I want to be there, not here.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know,
Yes.
I like that dynamic better. I'd rather choose that. So by the time I got to Illinois State, I was a theater major. That's what I was wanted to do. I had no other plan.
Mm-hmm.
And as you mentioned, there were a lot of really talented people in that department, as well as faculty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as I look back on it now, the training that I got, and even not beyond just trainings, some of the talent that I watched and was able to sometimes work with, as I look on it now, was probably, you know, a more influential than I probably realized it would be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the quality of work and the originality of it was, that I look back on it, was pretty extraordinary.
When do you find yourself getting acquainted with Steppenwolf Theater?
Well, it was all there. There's a through line even from university, because I was probably 2 years behind everybody that founded Steppenwolf. Jeff Perry, Laurie Metcalf, Malkovich, Terry Kinney. So they all graduated in 1976.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was still there, but they immediately went to Chicago and began actually north of Chicago in Highland Park, which is a suburb,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and started this theater in a little small church with 50 seats in it.
I'm just so fascinated by this, and I was just going to tell people that you're back. You're back at.
I am.
You're back this summer.
Yes.
What show? What can you tell us about the
It's
show?
called Catch as Catch Can.
Yeah.
It is a play that's probably not, I don't think it's that old of a play. It's only 8 or 9 years old. I might be bad on details, but its production history is pretty minimal, I think. I think there was some kind of a workshop production in New York. And this is the first time it's been done in the Chicago area. I know.
Yeah.
And it's strange. It's like it's 3 actors. Well, it's kind of, I don't want to demean it by calling it a gimmick play, but there's a big catch to it. No pun intended with the title. It's 3 actors playing 6 parts.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
And
That's
each character plays both a male part and a female part. But this is without, you know, any kind of elaborate wardrobe changes or anything like that. It's just
that's
the
cool,
action.
This is like your Jimmy and Casey.
That's right.
This is great. I love this.
That's right.
I'm going to try to go. I don't know if you're
That
going
would be fantastic.
We could
When,
take
and when is it? When is it?
It'll
going up?
be like opens mid-June, and runs till middle of July.
What is your first series regular role on television? Was it Midnight Caller?
Midnight Caller was the first series regular.
And you were the number one on the call sheet on Midnight
I was number
Caller.
one on the
There
call.
you go.
You
That
went from 9 to
happened
1 real fast.
Yeah, you did.
We shot the pilot in the spring of 1988,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a producer called up. The good news is the pilot's picked up. The bad news is there's a writer's strike.
Oh,
Come on.
wow.
Come on,
So
guys.
there
Not now,
was.
not now.
So we got a pilot,
Yeah.
and apparently it's going to be picked up, but we don't know when that's going to take place because there's no writers. So we sat. So I sat on that until the following October.
Did you
So
have? I'm sorry. Did you have like a job or something? Like, did it hold you over? Or?
I was doing. I'm trying to think at the time. I think during the midst of it, I think I did do a TV movie that was already written.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
You know, written already.
Who's that guy typing in the corner over there?
That was allowed.
Yeah.
And we started later, but that was the first season Midnight Caller was short. It was 16 episodes. But that's the first time I was on an environment that was similar to what we're doing now. And actually, it's really kind of the last time I was in something where I was involved all the time. Everything in between was more like a recurring, character, even though I was on shows that, where I did several episodes, but never like,
where you're the focal point,
right?
Essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah. What did you learn from doing Midnight Caller? I mean, and now Parker on NCIS, and we'll talk about some other stuff between. But what do you learn about like being kind of the number one guy on the call sheet of setting a standard and that sort of stuff? Like, what are your responsibilities beyond showing up and acting? I mean,
I think I was fortunate that my very first, or close to my very first experience was a back then they called mini series, which was basically two-hour movies back to back stuck together. It was a 4-hour, so that you're talking about 8 or 9 weeks of shooting. And I was, when I did that, I was working all day, every day. And I worked with Carl Malden, Eva Marie Saint, and Andy Griffith.
oh
Wow.
my
A few
gosh.
people with experience.
Yeah.
They've been around. They've been around.
So I wasn't aware of a lot when I was 27 and being a meathead. I had a lot of wrong-headed behaviors, but one thing I did know was that I'm sitting in a giant golden opportunity here, right?
Yeah.
So I really kind of tried to absorb it all. And what I witness is that the focus of a day is about, one scene after another, make something work, and it's literally just that. And with, and you're all of a sudden you're thrust in a situation with 100 people that you're going to see every day, and you're going to see them all day, a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a lot of, room for real conflict with people. I mean, if you can differ on stuff, but you got to get tight with people, and you got to get tight with them quick.
Yeah.
And I think I recognized that pretty quickly, and that's important in this environment.
Yeah.
I mean, I say what we do, and especially the nature of our show, and so many shows, so many scenes we have where we're all together, or several of us are together, along with the crew. You got to be tight. You have to be tight. You got to have each other's back, and then the work is the work. But without that, I don't know that you get the work done. To me, but
but that when you're tight like that, and I've seen you do this on our set, Gary. Just like when you're tight, it promotes trust. Between the writer, the director, the actor, any crew member. They know when you're coming to them with a question, it's in earnest and it's to make the show better. Yeah. It's not to be a star, I'm flexing here or anything like that. And I saw you do this actually last week when we were doing a scene together, and you said, I want to speak to, if the writer could come in, and you spoke with the writer and the director about a scene we were going to shoot the following week. And you said, I don't understand this and this and this part. Let's talk about it. And I think that all of that is there because of the trust that's built, and because they see you working your butt off, and I think that to me is like top of the call sheet type of behavior. I
think you're a problem solver as an actor.
Yeah.
Inside of filming something, I think you're not that it's your sole responsibility or you're the only one that has the answer, but I mean, if it's things are going to come up, right? Things are going to be unclear to people. Things are going to you can feel something when you're on your feet that isn't, somehow it's not going through.
Yeah.
And you can't anymore. To me, I can't really be silent about it, but I've discovered a way to do it without you know, it used to be when I would get that way, there'd be like a chip on my shoulder, or I would be
Like, prove this to me.
I would be angry
Tell me why
about
we
it,
have to
like
do this.
you know, I'm entitled to a solution right now,
Right.
Yeah.
and that can't be, you know, that just can't be, you know. I'm part of that. We're all part of that process, and
Right.
it's probably, you know, it's probably one of the most collaborative forms of expression I can think of. You know,
Yeah.
we're not sitting behind, we're not playing a sole instrument. It's not a canvas. You know, we're not sitting down at a typewriter and you know, cranking out a story. It's we got to make the story work. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's that's everybody's response. There's a lot of elements there that tell that story. You know?
Well, and I imagine it's got to be different. Like, I'm just jumping ahead a little bit in your career on a show like Veep, you know, where it's a comedy, it's fast. I imagine there's a little improvising going on there, right?
Veep was an extraordinary, much different experience than I've had on doing anything, and probably will be.
Oh yeah.
Because that's another thing I was thinking about today, which was that writing process never stopped. It didn't stop in the writer's room.
Yeah.
It certainly didn't stop when I got in front of a camera.
Yeah.
I have never spent so much time on a show without the camera.
Oh,
We
really?
spent
really?
days, sometimes, you know, an entire week without the camera. They built it into the schedule. I don't know how they did this. It was HBO, but whatever. You know, where they would have the script. We would do a reading of whatever draft they came up with, and then the process was, all right, take this, throw it in the corner, get up, and now we're going to do that scene we just read, but nobody's using the script. It's just
That's so fun.
for me. Horrifying.
Yeah. I'm invigorated.
Horrifying.
I love
Wow.
it. I want to do it.
I'm sure I was like that's not what I know.
Yeah.
But you had no choice, right?
Yeah.
But again, you had a group that a lot of people that were really skilled with it, were trained in it, right? Matt Walsh,
cast.
Julie was amazing at it.
Yeah.
A lot of people that came through there, that some of their background was based on sketch work and
Matt
improv.
Walsh.
Tim,
Tim, yeah.
and Matt and Sam
Tim,
Richardson.
Yeah. So they were, I mean, to be, you could feel the embrace of that when I began, you know. I mean, it was helpful because I really was. I was really, really anxious. I had a lot of anxiety.
Wow.
I was looking over my shoulder a lot in Veep, waiting for the hammer to come down. I was like,
Had you done any improv work throughout your theater days, or was it?
I mean, I had already
Or just
done.
like
I
theater
had
games?
already done some movies where it took Talladega Nights
yeah,
with
yeah.
Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that I had already done that. So there was, there was that experience, which was very freeing, and I gained a lot of confidence in that. But also, it wasn't just improvisation. They wrote a great character, and their process, which was a lot like Veep's, which was to get what they put on the page in the can first,
Yes.
and then throw away the script and try to play with moments.
And did Adam McKay wrote that?
Adam McKay and Will.
And
Yes.
Will.
Oh wait, please tell them about the door, because I asked
The
you
what?
about this. The door. I had not seen Talladega Nights until I actually started working with you, and then I was like, oh, I've never seen this, and I went back and watched it, and you told me about the car door for your character. Do I need to tell this story?
No. The
those
door.
of
I was
you
like, the door.
Yeah, for those of you who can't see right
the
now,
magic door.
we're sitting up more and more, and Gary Cole's slumping down as he's talking about like improv, and I'm like, tell us the door story.
I got the door. I got the door.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
The Reese Bobby,
Yes.
who I played, who was Will Ferrell's father.
Right.
Yeah.
I cooked up a backstory for him, which was that he was, he never made the big time as a race car driver. He was a bootlegger, so he drove the blocker car to, stay in front of the sheriff while the whiskey was being delivered.
Yeah.
So that's all he knew. But on weekends, he would, drive a dirt track in a stock car, or just a like a what do you call those, just a wreck of a car. And those old stock cars that would do those county fair, things were, the doors were soldered together.
Yeah.
just so there was one,
Yeah.
they could never, there was no danger of the doors opening.
Right.
Sure.
So the only way to get into those cars was to get yourself up over the driver's side window
Just
and
go straight
and
through the
crawl
window.
in.
Yeah.
That's it.
And so I thought, well, that would be a good thing for him to do. And just before they're setting this up, they're setting this big take up where I'm going to jump in the car and peel out. And I thought of it, and I ran over to Adam McKay. He goes, "Yeah, what do you want?" He goes, "Is it okay if I just, get in the door like it's bolted, like it's welded together?"
And maybe he bolted his own door.
You know, normally you'd think, the director would go, "What the hell are you talking about?" And he goes, "That's perfect."
Yeah.
Because there's clearly a door there.
It has a handle.
Yeah.
That you could just pull.
And it makes no sense, but yes.
Oh, God, I asked you about that because, I fear stunts. I just can't stand anything that's not just lifting one foot after another off the ground. I'm freaked out. So when I came back and I watched it on Monday, I said, I got to ask, how did they ask you to do that door thing? And you go, oh, no. I asked them.
Oh, no, I had that. No, I think I probably even practiced it before I asked them. Am I going to be able to get in this car just like...
The first take.
Oh, so
the first
good.
take, you want to make sure you don't get stuck.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
All right, if we're going to go back to Talladega Nights, I got to ask about Bill Lumbergh in Office Space. So, how did this come to you from Mike Judge? I mean, obviously, it's just iconic. Everybody can quote the film. Everybody can quote your character specifically, and just the snide rudeness of this character that's become a staple for everybody. How did it come to you? And was the development of that character pretty well set before you got it? It was. Okay.
Yeah. I always say I wish I could tell you the story of how I invented Bill Lumbergh.
Yeah.
But the truth is I didn't do can we curse here?
Yeah, sure.
You want.
I didn't do shit.
Yeah.
I watched an animated cartoon
Okay.
by Mike Judge called Office Space, which begins with Milton.
It's mostly about Milton, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's Milton and Lumbergh, but it's primarily it's centered on Milton. It's it starts with Milton mumbling to himself in a cubicle, telling people how he can set the building on fire and how he's been wronged by this company and how he's much more superior to anybody in the building.
So
and then you hear footsteps and this guy walks in and he sort of looks vaguely like me, although with more of a receding hairline. And like these little round glasses, and it's Lumbergh.
Yeah.
And he's checking on Milton, and he's just like peering over the cubicle and tormenting him. So when I got the appointment, I just it's just a normal appointment from an agent with, this is how long ago it was, a VHS cassette.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Of this animation called Office Space. So I watched it. And Mike Judge, I mean, these animated characters that he creates, people relate to them because you've seen these people, you've heard them,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Oh, that's my uncle. That's whoever. And I immediately recognized this boss of this condescending, passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Never raises his voice, but he's just like I always say. He wasn't thrilled to be there in the office.
Yeah.
And he certainly wasn't thrilled that any of his employees were there either.
Yeah.
So I just went in and did an imitation of it. I'm a halfway decent mimic sometimes, depending on what the subject is. So that's what I did. And Mike was like,
That fits.
because I was basically
guy.
doing him. So Mike was going to see that this guy's good.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And I came back like 3 days later and did it again for another producer or something. And so I knew it went well, but that's because it was all, coming from that source.
Did you know it would be as like sort of everlasting?
No one knew that.
Yeah,
no one knew. We were all big fans of Mike. We knew it was really smart, and we knew that it was, that while he was shooting it, you could tell he was. He knew exactly what he wanted. He knew how specific he wanted each moment. He knew. He's an animator, right? I mean, it's all here. So he's like, if there wasn't one little detail, he'd pick it up or do it again.
Yeah.
But no one had any idea what kind of effect it would have. I didn't work in an office, so I had no kind of appreciation for how large that culture is. That cubicle culture. I'd never, all the jobs I had were either, blue collar jobs or service jobs. I had no office skills, so there was no business of me being in an office at all. And then when it did not do well in the theater, but then afterwards, you would hear dialogue on the street and people would shout to me whether I got the memo or not. So I knew something. Something was up.
So when you were cast on our show, and I told my kids, and we went on this trip. I think it was just up to Big Bear, and I was like, "Well, you guys we got to watch Office Space, guys. You're gonna love it." Mm-hmm. And the thing has aged really well. Like it just still just hits. And both my kids were like, "That is hilarious." And my son just looks at me, he's like, "Wait a minute, that guy with the suspenders, like." He's the new Gibbs, and I was like, but he's not playing that role. Yeah. It's that actor, and he's like, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I was like, hey Torres, what's happening?
Yeah. And when I heard that you got cast, and just to show how enduring this is, I was like, I know that guy. We did a commercial together with you as Lumbergh.
Lumbergh-esque.
Yeah, Lumbergh-esque. Yes, Lumbergh-esque.
No, I remember.
I apologize.
You saying,
but years later, and then you did something with Sean too. Before the show, I feel like he told me that you did something.
Something with what?
Sean Murray, who plays Timothy McGee.
Oh,
number 2 on the call sheet.
Yeah, no. He did say that, but now I can't remember what it was. Yeah, but he was like,
it was some TV movie or something. Yeah.
But he was a youngster then.
Yeah,
right?
We need to start playing like 3 Degrees of Gary Cole.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It's pretty great.
Now it comes to mind. You'll have to ask him.
It's time to get to further questions.
All right. So, Gary, every week we have questions that are sent in from your relatives. I'm kidding. No, from fans of the show. So we kind of announce, here's who's going to be on this week, and the probies of the show, the fans of the show, send in questions specifically for you. So we're going to hit you with a couple of them. Okay. You can be as brief or as verbose as you want. Whatever you want to do. What do you got there?
Okay. So this is actually great, and I'm going to tie it into one that I have. Is there any kind of role that you still want to play? Because you've had an incredible career, very long, very versatile.
I always, whenever that question's posed, I don't know. I always look at myself never as a material. To me is something you react to.
Yeah.
I don't never, it's something I don't like, what's the word? Fantasize about. I want to play this type of person. I've never done that kind of role, so I need to do this. I kind of erase that part. Mm-hmm. And wait for and just react to whatever is in front of me.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? So I guess I just don't. That's as simple as I can say. I don't really think in those terms. Certainly not anymore. Because it's like as I look at the calendar,
Well, let me redo this then. Is there a role that you can look back on, and let's go back to your theater training, your time at Illinois? Is there a role that you can look back on and you're like, yeah, that's what I was aiming for. That's what I was training for. That's what my training really prepared me.
I'll tell you. Well, there's a role. I'll tell you a moment when I was probably still in high school, and the story of this material it'll answer the question really. I was still in high school, and I saw a production in Chicago. And it was a professional production. It was outside the city, but it was in a at the time what we call it was a dinner theater, but it wasn't a real dinner theater. It was you could have dinner at the hotel, and then there was a very nice proscenium such or kind of in the round theater of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
And it was a really fantastic production. But it was up until then I had seen, the musicals that my sister did and all this material that you would do in high school, right? And this is in the mid-'70s. Mm-hmm. I had never seen anything on the stage that dealt with the themes and the darkness that this play, focused on.
Mhm.
And I was just captivated by it and then I later read the book, which is another. It's one of the most unusual, moving stories, and it's totally out of everybody's wheelhouse almost. It's not a life that most people can really relate to.
Yeah.
Because it's inside of an institution filled with people who are unable to cope mentally with things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And in comes this character who is free from all of that.
Right.
Right? Because he's masquerading as
I'm
one of these people.
I'm one of you.
Just to get out of, just because he thinks it's going to be a cushier time, and it comes back ultimately to be his downfall. And that's a character that I think about all the time, McMurphy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I never, it never really circled my way, except for one time doing like a college guest star thing, but I just, schedule-wise, it didn't work. But I remember being moved to the point that I didn't recognize before of seeing that material.
Yeah.
And so then it really, and I was young. I mean, I was probably only 16 or 17.
Yeah. Wow.
But it was like, ooh, okay, there's a reason.
That's
There's
really
a reason to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm going to give you a different take on that. If bringing it back to NCIS, if Parker could revisit one past, say, character that has been within the history of NCIS that Parker never got to work with, what is there a character or past actor that you'd like to work with that you think that would be a cool dynamic?
That's been on the show?
That's been on the show, or any of the NCISs. Say we got.
There's Laura San Giacomo.
Yeah.
There's Jamie Lee Curtis as the therapist.
We got
There's
Tony DiNozzo. We got Ziva David.
French Stewart as that great.
Right, but you're talking about excluding the cast.
Excluding
here,
our current.
Yeah.
Well, I would
So
say
you can
I'll
go
tell you the person that comes to mind.
Yeah. What do you think?
Because it was early. It was early in my, journey on the show.
Yeah.
And it had to do a lot with Parker's origin, and I forget his name now. I think his name was, I want to say it was Sean. It was my buddy from, like when Parker was in juvie.
Oh,
they used to say that.
Yes.
And this guy's son or somebody was killed. I think it was his son or maybe his nephew or something.
It was kind of a Mystic River sort of thing.
Yeah. And then I got involved with, dealing with him, and we had, there was a bunch of reminiscences about our past.
It was, you guys were talking about it in Autopsy. I
Yeah,
remember
we grew up in the same. We grew up as kids.
Yes.
But I'm trying to remember the actor's name.
Yeah, he's been in a million things.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish I'd done my research on this one.
Yeah.
Research on 400 episodes?
Yeah,
Okay.
only the 100 that Gary's done.
I also thought there was.
Okay.
I forgot who. Now I've forgotten who wrote that episode, but I thought
that was
the
Marco.
writing was.
That was a Marco Schnabel.
Was it Marco? Yeah.
He's watching
Yeah.
right now. He's mad about it, but it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was.
That was
Yeah.
some terrific.
And it was, and he was terrific. But there was, there was a lot of great things that culminated in that show. I think it winds up. Yeah, I think the last scene it winds up in the church, because they were, they grew up in the, as altar boys or something like that.
Yeah.
But I remember that distinct. First of all, it was early for me.
It was formative for sure.
And it was something really to grab onto, and it had a lot of history pre-NCIS for Parker, and that was, that helped me, as we continued.
Well, thank you so much for being here, man.
Thanks for
really appreciate you coming by. I love the fact.
I hope my blabbering made some kind of sense.
Are you
Gary,
kidding?
I hope you have a good editor, because
Gary, I cried. I cried when you were. This is true. I don't cry, but I cried knowing that you were coming today because I was very emotional this morning, and I was like, I just like Gary so much. He's great. And my makeup person said, "Get it together. This is mascaras and waterproof."
Your makeup
so
person
I
was
did.
laughing at you.
Yeah, she was laughing at me. But okay, we have something on here that says Billy Doyle, and I don't know who
Billy
that
Doyle.
is.
There you go.
Who's Billy Doyle?
Billy Doyle
Billy
was
Doyle
the
is
name
a
of- was the
character
name
we
of
were
the
just talking
character.
about.
Oh, that's the
But
name of the
who's he-
character.
who's
Great.
he- who- it was Chappie, Kevin Chapman.
Kevin Chapman. There you
Okay,
go.
great.
I had a great scene with him in
Ariel.
the diner where he came in and he was like trying to get a hold of my
That's
autopsy
right.
report
Yeah,
stuff.
right.
And I'm like, what are you doing? And we had this wonderful scene together, and I thought, man, I want this guy to come back. This is a great note, man. I think having that guy come back.
He was great.
Yes.
Oh, you've seen him. He's done a
Kevin,
bunch.
Kevin Chappell, right?
Yeah.
Kevin Chappell.
He's got an interesting
Chapman.
story
Kevin
too,
Chapman.
because he was not an actor. He became an actor apparently at like 35 or something. Like
And
that.
he was in Mystic River.
He did exactly.
And so it's like, it's kind of a Mystic River story. Who do we have for the guy?
Yeah.
The guy
Yeah,
from
he was
Mystic
in
River.
Mystic River. Yeah.
The crazy thing is that you've worked with so many people. I didn't know who Billy Doyle was. I was like, Billy Flint. I thought it was like Billy Zane or something. I was like, oh yeah, Billy Zane. Yeah, you've done stuff with him too. You've just worked with everybody in Hollywood at this point.
That just proves how old I am. That's all
No, that just proves how
2
talented you are.
degrees of Gary Cole. That's
1
that's
degree.
Probably
degree.
one.
If you're lucky, 1 degree.
Yeah. If you're lucky like us, 1 degree. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks,
I really,
guys.
really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes.
Bravo,
thank
bravo.
you. This is what actors want. We want people to clap for us, and we like clapping for each other.
Exactly.
Let's give the audience a hand.
This one's for you guys. Follow and listen to NCIS Partners and Probies on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.